Hey, what's up, guys? Alright, so Attack on Titan chapter 109 is out, and for the most part, this chapter focused solely on Gabby and Falco, which actually surprised me because after how important the last month's chapter put on the conversation between Mikasa, Armin, and Eren about figuring out what side he's actually on and going forward from there on what to do with him, I figured that's what the bulk of this month's chapter would actually be about, but instead, we're kind of putting that aside, we're kind of delaying that plot thread so we could get more about Gabby and Falco, which I'm not upset about. I actually kind of am more interested in what's going on with Gabby and Falco than I am what's going on with basically Eren and whose side he's actually on. So I was happy to see that. We start the chapter and we see that Gabby and Falco are actually getting basically led to that ranch or that farm kind of slash orphanage that girl that actually found him at the end of the last month's chapter was leading them to. We also find out her name's Kaya, and she leads them to the Browse family ranch. Which when I first heard that name, I was like, wait, Browse? Why does that name sound familiar? And then it fucking hit me. Browse was Sasha's last name. This is her family ranch. And when I saw it, I was like, wait. But that guy, that doesn't look like her dad. So I went back to chapter 107 where actually she got to see her dad for, I believe, the first time when he was visiting her grave. And I was like, wait, yeah, no, this can't be her dad. Because this guy has blonde hair and the other guy had dark hair, right? Go back to checking this is the newest chapter. It's literally the same guy, but for some reason he has different hair color than he did when the first time we met him. It could just be the lighting in the room. They had to make it darker because the room's kind of dark. But still, it's the same guy, and it's like, dude, it's Iyama. Just when I finally got over Sasha's death, like literally each time I just get over the fact that she's dead, the next chapter hits us heavy with the fact that yeah, she's dead, reminding us the fact that she's not coming back. Like some kind of emotional aspect, whether it be seeing her parents show up at her grave, or finding out that the people who are responsible for Sasha's death are now living under the roof of her own family. It's like, come on, man, just let me rest, let me forget about it. So yeah, if you're a Sasha fan, this chapter was kind of emotionally heavy for you, and it was actually kind of emotionally heavy for Gabby as well because she's still under the indoctrination of basically the Lydians are evil, people from Paradise Island are evil, only the Marleys or the Marletians are actually true good people. Kind of the brainwashing that the Marlesians put her under. In fact, like as soon as they get to the ranch, her first thought isn't even to accept the kindness of Kaya. She's still distrustful. She's still saying that Kaya and all the other people here are devils. And her first thought is, let's steal a horse and get the fuck out of here. And it's only after Falco kind of calms her down. I was like, listen, we are kind of screwed right now. If we try to run, they'll eventually find us. Let's just lie low here for a little while until things quiet down a little bit. And that's what she kind of agrees to it. They go into that side of the house. They meet Sasha's dad, her mom, basically the entire people that are staying at the orphanage. And Gabby just starts kind of having a mental breakdown a little bit because they are treating her so nicely. They're treating her like an actual human being. They're treating her like a lost kid. The father doesn't push too hard on like what their circumstances are. He's like, listen, if you guys are runaways, if you don't have a place to go, you're welcome to stay here as long as you want. You don't have to bow. You don't have to be obedient. You can just be people. As long as you help out a little bit, you're fine to stay here. And they even feed her. They even feed them as soon as they get there. And when Sasha's mom tries to pat Gabby on the head and try to comfort her, Gabby freaks out a little bit because she's really starting to break down mentally because she's seeing how kind people are, how nice they are, but it's going against everything she's been taught about basically they're devils and they deserve all the hardships they've been going through. They deserve all the attacks that the Marlesians have been putting on them, and it's basically just going against everything she's been taught. And I gotta say, props to Falco because throughout the entire chapter, he is doing his best to not only keep Gabby in line and try to keep her calm, but also trying to keep up the facade that they're kind of putting on, the fact that they're brother and sister and that they're actually just run away from their parents because they're being kind of abused or some kind of like story they came up with in this chapter. But anyway, yeah, he deserves a gold fucking medal for how hard he was working in this chapter. Then we cut to a few days later and we see the two of them are kind of working on the farm still, and she's like, yo, let's just get the fuck out of here. Like, we've been here too long. Let's just go. And then Falco kind of brings up, hey, what? We've been here a few days now. Everything's been calm so far. It's peaceful. These people are nice to us. Why don't we just stay here until, our people come and save us? Because the Marlesians are coming. Why don't we just stay here until they rescue us? And Gabby's not really on board with that plan. But before they can even really continue the conversation, Kaya shows up and she drops the bombshell that she knows that the two of them are from Marley. Simply because of the fact that she heard the two of them arguing before she showed up in the forest to actually find them. Now, as soon as she figures that out, Falco's like, he's still trying to play up. At first he's trying to play up the fact that he knows it's a mistake. We are from here, and then as soon as he gets up on that, he's kind of being friendly with her still. But he's like, oh man, really? Was my facade that was my acting that bad Damn, wow, I can't believe he saw through that. Like, he's being friendly about the whole thing. Gabby, on the other hand, she picks up the pitchfork that she was using and is ready to go at Kaya. Like, literally, if it wasn't for Falco, she probably would have killed Kaya right there on the spot. Now, while Falco's trying to keep Gabby from, killing Kaya, some other people from the orphanage, some other kids from the orphanage actually come up and say, hey, what's going on here? And you think at this point, because Gabby just tried to kill Kaya will settle them out. She's like, hey, these guys are from Marley. I figured all this out. They're traitors. Get them the fuck out of here. But instead, she actually covers for them. She actually comes up with a lie to saying, hey, Gabby's a little jealous about the fact that she's getting close to her brother who Falco is. And, the guy's kind of like, hey, it's cool that you got her playing around. You can fight or whatever. But put down the pitchfork. Don't try to kill each other. And they just kind of walk off. And Gabby's just sitting there dumbfounded, just like Falco, he's just saying thank you. Like, he's apologizing, saying thank you. He's, fully appreciative. But Gabby, on her hand, she's confused. Like, why are you protecting us? You're evil. We're enemies. Why are you trying to help us out? And that's when Kaya takes them back to her home village. She takes them back to her home village and she takes them to her home. And she talks about how 4 years ago, at this one village, a small titan came here and everyone ran. Everyone from the village ran, leaving me and my crippled mother behind. And we were attacked by the titan solely. And when the titan entered our house, he ate my mother alive, 10 feet in front of me. And I was so petrified with fear that I couldn't move. And when you're hearing the story, you're like, damn, that's sad. She has every right to hate these people, so why doesn't she? And then she brings up the reason why, she doesn't hate them. And it's because the fact that she was saved by someone not that much older than her. And like, holy shit, who was this girl that saved Kaya? It turns out that Kaya was actually that little girl that Sasha saved all those years ago, like all those chapters ago, when she came in and fought off that titan with just a bow and arrow. So yeah, Kaya is that little girl that Sasha saved all that time ago. And that just hits you even harder about the fact that Sasha's dead, because damn. And it's a little poetic how the story kind of went full circle here, because we got the girl who Sasha risked her life to save, risking kind of her life, because if she gets found out that she's hiding Marlesians, she probably will be sent to jail. So she basically is kind of risking her life to save the people who are technically responsible for Sasha's death. Not even technically. Gabby straight up shot Sasha. So she is responsible for her death, and yet Kaya is putting her all and risking everything to trying to protect her. Now, after she drops the bombshell about what happened to her mom, she instantly goes up to Falco and Gabby and she's like, why? Why did my mom have to die? And this is when we get to see Gabby kind of go, like, her mental breakdown kind of comes full tuition in this chapter, because she starts breaking down. She's like explaining, she's trying her best to explain to Kaya why, why the Lydians are evil. She's like, you got 10,000 years ago, our people, your people, basically went around basically conquering other countries, keeping people enslaved, forcing them to have kids. Like, literally everything we have done, our ancestors have done, is our sins, and we had to pay for it. It's just because we don't remember it, we had to pay for it. And Kai kind of keeps fighting back. Like, each time Gabby tried to come up with a reason, like, our ancestors did this or our ancestors did that, Kai keeps bringing up, well, my mom didn't do any of that. My mom was just a simple woman. We lived here in this village. She wasn't responsible for any of that. So why did she have to die? Why did the attack had to end with her mom's death? And each time Gabby tries to, explain it to her, Kai's just like, why? Why? My mom didn't do any of that. Why? And it just gets to the point where Gabby's starting to kind of question herself, like, she can't come up with the answer. And Falco basically has to come down and bow his head and is like, listen, I'm sorry. Your mom didn't deserve it. Your mom was a good person. Your mom didn't deserve what happened to her. It was just a casualty of war. And that's our fault. I'm sorry. And Kai's like, listen, you don't have to apologize. And you would think this would be the point where Kai kind of, like, her anger and her hatred toward the Milesians would come out. But instead she's like, listen, you guys don't have anything to apologize for. You didn't do it yourselves. You can't be held responsible for where you were born. You know what? I don't know why, but just trying to remember this chapter and doing this review, it's making me realize just how fucking deep this chapter actually was. Even more so than when I actually read it for the first time. But yeah, as the chapter ends, we actually see Kai saying, hey, listen, you guys are Marlesians. There's some Marlesians working at a restaurant nearby. I'm going to take you to them. I don't know if they can help you get home or not, but at least you'll be with your people. Which, honestly, when I first read it, I was like, wait, of course they can't help her get home. The Marlesians are technically prisoners. If they knew a way to get off the island, they would have done so a long time ago. And I mean, of course, they actually kind of like being here now. But still, initially when they were captured, if there was a way for them to escape, they would have done so already. So I'm guessing Kai is just basically going to go there and try to use those Marlesians as a way to show Falco and Gabby, mostly Gabby, because Falco seems to be on board with staying, but show mostly Gabby that, the Marlesians who basically taught you all that stuff about, people from Paradise Island being evil, stuff like that, they like it here. They enjoy it here, and they're happy here. So you should be too. That's basically what it seems like that's basically what her plan is going to be. But here's the thing, though. That restaurant that they're talking about, I almost guarantee you it's going to be the same restaurant that the military police higher-ups were having that conversation at in the last chapter. Which means we're obviously going to have a confrontation between Gabby and those people, which is not going to end well. Especially when you know the fact that basically those Marlesians who are actually working there are, whether they're working for Pixiv or not, they are going to use poisoned wine to kill off all those military police. So something's going to go down in next month's chapter when we actually get to see them. If we see Gabby and Falco make it to that restaurant, then you know something's going to go down. Then I honestly cannot wait to see what happens there. Now, in between the Gabby and Falco storyline, we actually do take a few breaks where we actually get to see other characters. Like, we see that chick from Hizuru, that representative from the Japanese country in this universe. And she basically is just there to show off the fact that they actually basically completed a plane or like a blimp side, like an airship kind of thing that runs on the iceberg crystals that are, a resource solely found on Paradise Island. The whole reason why they actually kind of work with them in the first place. So basically it's just there to show off the fact that she has that kind of completed and, set up the fact that that's going to help out in some way later on. We check in with Hajj for a little bit. We see that basically she's dealing with the fact that she's actually becoming the kind of person that she hated early on in the series, but she had to become that kind of person for where the military's at and for the responsibilities that she now holds. We see her talking to basically that fucking asshole Broche and a whole bunch of other like kind of recruits to the Survey Corps, and we find out that Broche was actually the one who basically leaked information about Aaron being held captive and the fact that the volunteers that worked under Zeke are actually being held captive as well. He kind of basically leaked all that information because of the fact that he's actually against the fact that Aaron is being held, because he solely believes that Aaron is the true leader of their people at this point because he has the founding Titan ability. So they get arrested. We see Mikasa talking to one of the girls who actually was one of the people who leaked the information as well. And we find out she's actually someone who was saved by Mikasa. She joined the Survey Corps simply because she wanted to be close to Mikasa. And she starts to question whether or not Mikasa knows exactly what she's doing and if she truly still believes in Aaron or not. So that's pretty much all we see of Mikasa in the chapter. We head over to Pixiv talking to Yelena, the head of the volunteers that work under Zeke. And he basically confronts her about the fact that, at one point when she had, a military escort, or someone who actually would come up, like a military person from the Survey Corps who would come and check up on her, make sure everything's on the up and up with her. At one point it was Broche. And she convinced Broche to actually sneak her out and guide her to Aaron right before Aaron decided to leave for Marley and actually enact his initial plan of having forcing Paradise Island troop to invade Marley. So it's kind of hinting at the fact that she was actually the reason why he ended up doing it. So between this and the fact that she was actually the one who leaked the information to Historia about the fact that she was actually going to be forced to become a time shifter, it's seeming like they're really heavily implying that she actually is working under Zeke to enact some secret plan he has. But I don't know. To me, I don't believe that there actually is a secret plan for Zeke. I just believe that he just wanted his only plan was to get to Paradise Island that much quicker, so he can actually help them out. I don't really see any other plan he could actually have at this point, because it's clear since we already checked in with Marley that they had no idea that Zeke was actually going to turn traitor and actually go over there. Like, it just wasn't some kind of secret plan they enacted. So as far as they are concerned, he's a traitor. So no matter what he does, he's still going to be looked at as a traitor in Marley's eyes. So it doesn't benefit him at all to do all this in secret. So I don't really see any way or any reason why you would have some kind of secret plan at this point. That's just me personally. I don't know. Maybe Isayama has some kind of thing up his sleeve with Zeke that he hasn't revealed yet. But as far as I can tell, there's no way that there's any plan that could be enacted that he has been setting up all this time. But that's pretty much it for the chapter. There really isn't much else to talk about. Now, I'm actually really interested in finding out exactly what's going to happen with Gabby in next month's chapter, or in next time we check in with her and Falco's story, because she's at a crossroad at this point. She's really at a crossroads. She's basically at the point where she's like, she still wants to believe the fact that the Alliance are evil, that her people are evil, and that the Marlesians have been telling her the truth this entire time. But at the same time, she's seeing all the kindness, like how kind people are. The fact that the Bros family took her in. The fact that despite the fact that Kaya knows that they're from Marley, she's not turning them in. She's actually trying to help them out. She's starting to see that they're not all evil. And really, it's gonna come down to what the Marlesians tell her. If the Marlesians are actually true Marlesians and not Aladdins who are working in the military, it's gonna come down to what they tell her. If they tell her that yeah, they were wrong, everything they thought or said or told them about the Aladdins being evil was dead wrong, then it's gonna either come down to her having a full mental breakdown and causing a whole bunch of panic and chaos, and then ultimately end up probably dying. Or it's going to come down to her basically finally accepting the fact that she has been taught wrong, she's been indoctrinated wrong, and her basically flipping heel, basically going on to the side, or going on to Paris Island's side in this war. I can't wait to see what ends up happening with that. And I also can't wait to see what happens with the conversation between Mikasa, Armin, and Eren. I know it's going to be like a whole chapter dedicated to itself. Can't wait to see how intense that conversation ends up being. But yeah, that's it for the review. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, drop me a like, subscribe to the channel. I would greatly appreciate it. Comment down below your thoughts on this chapter, and I'll catch you guys later. Peace.